Hello everyone, welcome to Lotus Heart Tarot. I'm super happy to have you here. I just want to touch on something because there were a couple comments about it yesterday. The music is not meant to really accompany the readings. The reason that I play music while I am doing the readings is for my intuition. It helps my intuitive process. And I think what happened yesterday is that my phone that plays the music was sitting closer to the phone that I used to record with than normal. And that's why it was louder. I wouldn't normally choose this music either, but I have to choose royalty-free music because if the sound is picked up on the video, then YouTube will flag me. So, but one kind viewer did suggest that if the music, if that ever were to happen again, or if it does ever bother you, or if you are sensitive to sound, one of my best friends is incredibly sensitive. He cannot literally handle music that he can't really hear. He just can't handle it. So, anyway, I totally get it. I totally understand. But she suggested that you could turn the sound off altogether and watch the closed captioning version if you still wanted to watch the video without sound altogether. Okay, so that is all I can offer you. I certainly did not do that intentionally. And I'm also, not trying to overwhelm the video with music or even make the music a large part of the video. It's strictly playing for me, for my intuitive process. So I hope that clears some things up. I do appreciate when you do let me know that something's bothering you or whatever, like that bring things to my attention like that when they're different than they normally are. But yes, that's what I have to offer with that situation. Okay. I hope that helps. All right, here we go, guys. We're going to dive right into your reading today, beginning with these beautiful James Van Praagh, The Power of Love Oracle cards. And gosh, guys, I do like to start my readings by thanking those of you who regularly watch, who share your comments, who have subscribed. I deeply appreciate your support on my channel, so thank you. If you're new to the channel, welcome to the channel. I am so happy to have you here. I hope that you find a reading that resonates, and that if you do, you will consider subscribing and commenting and liking and participating. I love to hear from you. All right, guys, we just want to dive into this reading, keeping in mind that these are general, so take what resonates and leave the rest. Let's go, shall we? For Pisces, please, Spirit. For Pisces, what message do you have for Pisces? For my dear, sweet Pisces, what do you have? All right. Detachment. Oh, detachment. Discernment. Acceptance. And cooperation. Pisces. Okay, so God, I was just reading about the philosophies of Socrates, and he had this exercise that he did where he would make two columns on a piece of paper, and he would put justice at the top of one column and injustice at the top of the other column. And he would write down all of the injustices like deception, betrayal, lying, stealing, all of these things that are unjust, and then he would go back and he would try to think of scenarios where it might be acceptable to commit the injustice. Like, one of the examples was that if you're at war or something and you steal the enemy's weapons, or if, or some may even say Santa Claus is like an acceptable deception. You know, it's like, or lying to someone to keep them safe, or, you know, telling them you don't know the answer when you do because, you know, knowing the answer could put them in harm's way, or, do you know what I'm saying? And in doing that, it made, it allowed the person doing the exercise to sort of develop this energy of kind of knowing that it really isn't black and white, and that there are times, like, we don't have to be so deeply entrenched in our belief systems, and we don't have to, and, you know, sometimes we don't even allow ourselves to open up to think or consider other things or other ways of being, or even other people's points of view, because, you know, it is, because we are so like, it's either right or it's wrong, and, you know, and so we can't even hear the potential of where something good could come from that. Anyway, I was thinking about it after I read it, and I was thinking, gosh, it's sort of an exercise in detachment, which is how I'm bringing you back to detachment, because, you know, attachment is the root of all suffering, right? And attachment is, you know, when we really attach ourselves to anything, to people, to places, to objects, to, you know, sometimes we have an attachment to our job title. Sometimes we have an attachment to, you know, our car or our house or our hometown or our, you know, we develop all these attachments, and attachments are the root of all suffering. The more attached we are to things, the worse. And the reason is because we live in a transient world. We live in an impermanent world. That's why I say to you guys all the time, the one thing we know for sure is that things are going to change. They're constantly changing, because this is impermanent. Nothing stays the same forever. Even Mother Earth has changed. Even the moon has changed. Even the sun has changed. Like, nothing stays the same. Everything is in motion. Everything is changing constantly. Every breath we take, we are aging. You know, nothing stays the same. And so when we get real attached to something being one certain kind of way, and we're only okay if it's that way, you know what I mean? We create our own suffering, because that's not going to happen. It's not going to stay the same. It's not always going to be there. It just isn't. Which is, you know, why we say, you know, live in this detached perspective. And, you know, I sometimes use the example that my yoga teacher used in yoga teacher training, which was, you know, they had this dog, Shanti, who was this big, huge Saint Bernard, who was absolutely beautiful and loving and sweet, and a part of the yoga studio, and a part of the yoga community, and a part of the community, period, because they walked the dog at our park, and, you know, people knew who Shanti was. So, and you know, my yoga teacher said, you know, I knew I had allowed myself to become attached to her. I knew that you know, and that it was going to hurt really badly when, you know, life does what life does and takes her away, you know. And, you know, Shanti did pass away, and he was devastated. He was absolutely crushed, and he knew the whole time that he had become attached, and that he was, and that it was ultimately going to lead to his suffering, because, you know, unfortunately, dogs don't live as long as we do, right? So he knew what he was doing. But, you know, sometimes it's, you know, as people, it's really hard to avoid attachment sometimes, but the more detached we can stay, and really what I have found is that if I practice detachment to outcomes, if I'm really mindful, and I kind of say to myself, like, even when I'm baking, you know, baking is something where it's like, it really does sort of require a bit of precision and a bit of presence, you know, you know, because it's easy to be like, gosh, did I add the baking soda or not? You know, it's easy to kind of get ahead of yourself, or to have made so many different kinds of cookies that, you know, you just mix the dry ingredients, you mix the wet ingredients, and then you put them together, and you don't overmix them, you know. But sometimes recipes will call for something different, or will ask you to do something different. And, you know, anyway, what I was trying to say is that even when I'm baking, I will say to myself, okay, well, I am going to enjoy the process of making the dough and making the cookies, and I'm going to be fully present in this. And I hope that they turn out right, but if they don't, I will not have been for nothing, because I still will have enjoyed the process of creating them, of making them, of bringing them into being. And it helps, because sometimes what I bake does not turn out. You know, sometimes I'll try a new recipe and I don't know if it's the recipe or if it's me, you know, like something that I've done or didn't do or didn't understand or whatever. But, you know, we can practice detachment, I guess is what I'm saying. And a lot of times it is saying, I will be okay if this goes well or if this doesn't go well. I will be okay regardless of the outcome or regardless of what happens. I find that it's our attachment to outcomes that generally leads to our suffering on a kind of a daily basis, or, you know, the most common kind of suffering comes from, I really want it to work out like this, and then being disappointed when it doesn't. Because it's really an expectation of an outcome that we're allowing ourselves to become attached to. And, you know, with dating, with coming together with another person, because that's what feels like is what's happening here. A lot of times we'll say, you know, oh, like this better be the one, or I hope that, you know, it goes like this, or I need it to go like this because, you know, I just don't have it in me to keep dating, or I'm in love with this person already and I need them to contact me. I need this to come back together. Like whatever it is, we can sort of set, we can, that, what that does is it puts pressure on the connection, and it also puts energetic pressure on the other person. Not to listen to themselves, not to show up willingly, not to come to their own conclusion and be there because they want to be there, but there is this need, have to, must, should be this way kind of energy, and people feel that, they sense that, they resent it, they don't like it, they move away from it, they resist it, they fight it. So when we just allow the energy to be what the energy is and do what it wants to do naturally, normally, for one thing, what does come together will be authentic and it will be right for us. And for another thing, we won't be kind of repelling what we want to attract. Okay? I hope that makes sense. And then you have this discernment here. And it says you're developing the skill to distinguish love from fear and truth from illusion. And, you know, of course, with discernment, I always think of the Queen of Swords. And discernment doesn't just, we're not born discerning, right? Discernment is a skill that we gain through experience, through, you know, making mistakes, through, you know, having our heart broken, to, you know, having someone deceive us, you know, it's kind of like shedding, it's a process of shedding our innocence or our ignorance or our naivety that kind of leads us down this path toward discernment. But discernment, I mean, do we wish that none of those things ever happened and we could just live our entire life innocent and pure and perfect? Of course, that would be wonderful. But that just isn't normally the way life works. And honestly, you know, considering life is a space of learning and evolution, I'm not sure how much we would learn by just being able to hold on to our innocence because nothing bad ever happened to us in our entire life. You know what I'm saying? So discernment is a very valuable skill, and it does come at a bit of a price, right? And it is something we earn. So it's something that we want to put to work for us, you know? And we do that by I want to say like being honest with ourselves, you know, not saying, well, I want it to be this, so it is this, but instead saying, this is what it is showing me. I accept that. Do you see what I'm saying? And that sort of goes back to the detachment energy in its own way, right? And acceptance is the other part. Acceptance is, it says, you are ready to release control of situations or people and lovingly embrace the rhythm of life. Acceptance is, if this is for me or this is not for me, I can accept it. If this thing comes together, if this thing falls apart, if this thing, happens, I accept it. When we're in an energy of acceptance, this is why I put accept in my hashtags for every video. I put accept, allow, attract, assume, abundance. That's how I finish my hashtags for every video. And the reason is because acceptance is, I accept the gift you're giving me too, right? Acceptance is, I am open, I am receptive. I am not afraid to open up to accept what it is you're offering me. Acceptance is, for me, it is part of the divine feminine energy of being able to, I am hearing the theme song of the Facts of Life. You take the good, you take the bad. Do you know what I'm talking about? I can see, what is her name with the bun, and Natalie and Joe? Oh my God, I've not thought about that show in 1,000 years. And that's the facts of life, and you just accept them. Oh my God, I have no idea. All right, you guys, take it as it resonates. And then you have this energy of cooperation, and the energy of cooperation, right, is, the best thing that we have to kind of inspire cooperation is, you are here because you want to be here. I am here because I want to be here. And we are working together to achieve this because this is what we want together. Do you see what I'm saying? It's the energy of the Three of Pentacles. And when we are open to the truth, when we are open to reality, and when we are open to accepting what is meant for us and what is not meant for us, and knowing that there is a bigger plan, and knowing that there is an ebb and flow of life, and that we don't have to control our lives to get a certain result, we can just put that up there into the universe and trust the universe and accept what comes and what doesn't come, and what goes and what doesn't go. Then what we are left with when we come together is cooperation. We are left with a situation where both parties are there out of a desire to be there, and it works out because both parties are working to make it so, out of choice, out of desire, And that's a very different thing than, I'm working my rear off to help this person heal, to try to get them to stay, to try to get them to see in themselves what I see in them. It's a very different thing. And so there is this energy of detaching from attachments, from, things that we are trying to control or that we want to have happen, right? And to accepting what is, and to kind of having putting our past experiences to work for us, in knowing that what is meant for us will be, and what is not meant for us will not be, no matter how much we try to control it, no matter what we do. So when we can come to that place, and we come to a place of peace and acceptance with it, and with everything that has already been, because it has happened exactly the way that it was meant to, then we can sort of lovingly open up to ourselves and to the world and to another person with trust and openness and unconditionality. And those things work. Those things stay together for a very long time. And it, in a way, like how I just described it, makes me feel like there's a really practical energy about it. And there is. It's not the knees quaking, earth shaking. I don't know, I'm hearing the song You Shook Me All Night Long kind of energy. It is practical. There's an ease. There's a, it just sort of works. It just sort of makes sense to it. Okay. You guys have two cards with lightning in them. This fate and this storm, unexpected. This very like tower moment energy, which can be a especially with this thoughts kind of energy, it can be a realization, like a very strong realization, or it can be, you know, someone coming in out of the blue to communicate with you. You have this ego, vanity, and pride, and you have this decisions energy, and then you have this thoughts energy, and it says isolating at the bottom of it. You know, the ego is the loudest voice in the room, right? Always. And for everyone, that's why it's so important to live. That's not why it's so important to live mindfully, but that is one of the reasons. Because if you're not living mindfully, then you're going to hear the voice of the ego loudest and fastest, and you're going to accept that, and you're going to act upon that and be as such. If you want to operate from your highest and best, or from your intuition, you have to quiet the ego. You have to go beyond the ego into the quiet whispers of your higher self. You have to intentionally sort of connect with that energy and hear that energy and listen to that energy and heed what it says, right? I feel there's an energy here where for some of you, this can be where someone was a bit in their ego or in their pride. And, you know, there may have been a reflection point in this relationship. See how she's looking in that mirror? That caused this person to see something that they weren't okay with. A lot of times that does happen in relationships, where even friendships, even work relationships, where, you know, it's like one person is reflecting back to the other person their opportunities for growth, or even like almost bringing an awareness or an exposure to something of someone to themselves, right? Like, I hope that makes sense. That it's like maybe they weren't aware of, or maybe they were kind of aware of it, but they didn't maybe like completely recognize it. It's hard to really describe here. But, you know, someone may have thought that they were being, you know, a really good person, or that they were always making the right decisions, or they were doing the right thing all the time. But it may have come down to, you know, it's easy to kind of say those things and do those things and whatever when emotions aren't involved, when messy things aren't involved, when things that don't tuck neatly into boxes with wrapping paper and tissue. That, you know, we can sort of move through life to a great extent going, well, this is right and this is wrong, and, you know, I behave this way because, you know, this is just the right thing to do, or this is morally correct, or whatever it is. But when it comes to things that challenge us, when it comes to things that that are a little bit messier, or that don't kind of, it's like, sure, I'd rather not deal with that because it's messy, or I'd rather not have to get involved with that because it's messy. but is that the right thing to do? And it's like, there are times in life where we are dealing with people who sort of hold this mirror up to us, and they kind of cause us to question our own sort of belief about ourselves, or even our own way of handling things, or looking at things, or thinking about things. I'm almost feeling like this goes back to the Socrates thing, where it's like, you know, if you're gonna say, if you ever take something that's not yours, that's an injustice, and that's thievery, and that's never okay. Well, okay, let's say, you know, someone is trying to you know, do physical harm to someone else with a weapon, and I take their weapon to prevent the physical harm from being done. Am I still a thief? Have I still completely done the wrong thing? You know, is there an exception to the rule? Is there, it's like, it's almost as if, and so what happens is, you know, people can be very rigid in their ideas, or people can be very rigid in their belief system. And please know that I'm not saying it's right or it's wrong or anything. I'm just using this as an example, okay? But it's like, then it sort of causes this person to look and say, oh, you know, maybe I'm kind of rigid. And maybe that's not always the right thing. Maybe that's not always the moral thing. Maybe that's not always the thing that's in the highest and best. And it causes them to look at themselves in a different way. And sometimes the initial reaction to that can be shame or guilt, or those lower vibrational, sort of darker, shadowier energies. And people don't like to be confronted with those things, right? People don't like to see that, especially not in themselves, you know? And so it seems as though it's like, when I'm looking at you, I mean, this is what I'm getting from this energy. When I'm looking at you, I really like what I see, and I admire you, and I respect you, and I think highly of you. But sometimes when I see what you're reflecting back to me, I might not always like what I see within myself. And so there's this energy of like, it's like, in order for me to be with you, I have to elevate. I have to expand. I have to grow. I have to soften my rigid, hard spaces. And it feels like there is some kind of decision to sort of, I feel like, take a detour. I keep getting the word detour, but then I'm surprised when it's not on the card. So I don't know. It's a strong association with this card. Let me see. Hang on, guys. And I'm over here by myself, and I'm sort of thinking about it. I'm sort of considering it, because, you know, it's like they may have been confronted with a shadow through their own reflection through you, right? I hope this makes sense. But it's like, there may not necessarily be prepared to be vulnerable to it, or to express that. And so I almost feel it's like, if I'm going to proceed, I have to be able to look at this person without seeing my shadow, which means I have to confront my shadow. I have to look at it. And that's what I feel like is bringing about this energy of the lightning here, which is probably a profound realization, but it could also be leading to a really unexpected communication. And with this fate card, it says detours and divine intervention. And I always like to think of towers as divine intervention. I think they always are divine intervention. But there's this energy here of, it's sort of something that, oh, detours, it's right there. I was thinking it had to do with this energy. I'm feeling the energy of detours here. So how interesting, weird. Something's happening there that's making me feel itchy. But it's this energy of, okay, before I can come back around to this, before I can decide to sort of take this path and to move in this direction, I have to get right with myself. I have to have this spiritual ascension. I have to sort of crack open some sort of rigidity, so that we can be equals. with this karma and this justice and this balance card, so that I can give back to you what you are giving to me, so that this can be reciprocal, so I can carry my own weight. So what is unexpected may be somebody stepping back. I don't feel like this is like a we're done kind of thing. I feel like this is it may even be a little bit of a just kind of pulling my energy back, more so than like even acknowledging it or saying something or making a big deal out of it. Do you know what I'm saying? Like it could even be just like I'm really busy right now, or I'm going to be really busy for a minute, like, you know, don't expect a lot from me, or, you know what I mean? Rather than just like, I really need to think about things, you know, da-da-da-da-da, kind of a big deal. I feel like this is a softer, you know, kind of energy. And it really is because somebody is realizing that they're not actually in the same place. They're not able to like rise up to meet the same occasion. They're not able to balance out the scales. They're not able to contribute the same amount to the situation as the other person. And so it's kind of like, we can't move beyond this point until I'm able to do that, be that, provide that, you know, come to that place. And it's kind of like, it's telling you, like, you got to stay detached, and you got to know that this is in the highest and best. And you've dealt with people who weren't ready showing up, and then not, in the end, just breaking your heart even more. And so you've got to be able to accept whichever path this person chooses, whether if they can rise up or if they cannot rise up. You know, because what you're really looking for here is cooperation. Somebody who is capable of balancing out the scales and reciprocating and being there and doing for you. All right. Yeah, so you have this energy of lure and soar, and let me put my glasses on. These words are so freaking small. Okay, you have in love with someone else, and it says feelings for another simmer strong within their hearts for someone else. They are in love with another. This actually feels, this made me take it separately, and it feels a bit like a fear. You know, it feels like, but what if I let them go, or what if they walk away from me? For some of you, you may know there's a third party, but there's almost this energy of where I can tell myself, well, they don't actually care about that person. But what if they're spending time with this person and they end up falling in love, or they end up developing feelings or whatever? And I think this is showing up because fear is what prevents us from being able to be comfortable in these energies right here. Fear is something that says to us, well, you know, if I let this person go, if I'm detached, and if I just let them come to their own conclusion, and I only want them if they want to be here, I'm setting myself up for a place of suffering, because, you know, what if they choose someone else over me? And, you know, fear prevents us from being in our highest and best. And the thing is, that fear is what really drives away this energy of cooperation. But what I see here is you have lure and you have this soar energy, which are telling me it's like when this person is with you, they feel really great. And there isn't anything that could attract this person back more. You see how she just doesn't care? You see how she's watching, she's kind of interested, but she's not chasing, she's not making any move. You can tell from her body posture that she's not trying to control the situation. She's sort of wild and free, and she is, you know, she's allowing them to be wild and free. And what happens in that situation is it allows the connection to sort of come together and be in its highest and best. You know, and it allows this person to come back and be in their highest and best. It's in the highest and best for for the entire connection. All right, so let's dive into the tarot. Nine of Swords, there's that fear. We have the Ten of Cups with the Knight of Wands, and we have the Emperor. You know, this is so interesting, right? Because the Emperor energy is divine masculine energy, and this is the energy that we really need someone to be in if we are, you know, if we are divine feminine, then we need someone in the divine masculine to cooperate with us, you know, to be a vibrational match with us. And with the Ten of Cups here, there is a deep level of emotional contentment, I feel like, generated from this connection. For some of you, this person has not shown up yet in this Emperor energy, in this energy of like, I'm taking action out of confidence, out of security, out of stability, out of it is in the highest and best of all. And honestly, you know, how do we rise up into the energies of the Emperor and into the Empress? We do it by making hard decisions, and that is by recognizing that, like, wow, my shadow is being reflected back to me. And when that's happening, I've got to know that I need to look at that shadow, I need to work at that, I need to heal that, I need to, you know, bring my Bubba, please, come on. My lawn people are here mowing my grass, and so my dog is like, I know, Bubby, but we want them to be here. Sorry. The thing is, it's like, okay, how do we raise up into this Emperor energy? We do it by making the decision. We do it by making a decision from that's in the highest and best in all for all. That's how we bring our vibration into alignment with that vibration. We become it. And we become it by not by running away, not by saying, oh, you're reflecting my shadow back to me, it's more than I can handle, I've got to bolt, see you some other time. We do it by saying, wow, my shadow is being reflected back to me. What an opportunity to grow, to expand, to become even more than I am right now. And to take this as an opportunity to elevate myself. And I feel like that is what someone is saying here, or definitely for some of you, they're saying it. Now, with the Nine of Swords on the bottom of the deck, is there always that fear? And see, I keep getting this energy, like I got it with this in love with someone else energy, and I'm getting it with this Nine of Swords, Knight of Wands. It's like, well, what if this person leaves and they don't come back? What if they're going to be in and out of my life? What if this, what if that? Well, don't you want to know that so that you can like begin the process of getting over it and moving on? Don't you actually really want to know that someone can't show up for you, or that someone isn't brave enough to do the work that you were brave enough to do? Don't you want to know? Like, do you want the lie just to perpetuate because it prevents your suffering, because it's easier? No, you don't want that. Not really. Not if you're elevated. Not if you're in your highest and best. You want the freaking truth. You want to know, can you rise to meet my occasion or not? And it's like this Emperor needs to know, you know? And they also need to make it clear that, like, when they're coming back as someone who can rise up to meet the occasion. Because with the Knight of Wands energy, you may experience moments of emotional contentment with that person that are so amazing that it always makes you want more. Which is great, which is beautiful, which is a lovely thing. But a Knight of Wands can't sustain that kind of energy. They can come in, they can give it to you for a couple of months here and there. The exciting part, the desirous part, the butterflies in your stomach part. But as far as like sustaining it on a day in and day out basis, facing hard things and sickness and in health, for rich or for poor, they're gonna run the first sign of trouble because they can't handle it. The heat from the frying pan gets too high and they're like, uh-oh, I don't know what to do, I gotta go. So yeah, you may have moments of real emotional connection and contentment with them, but they're moments, and that's all you can really hope for. With an Emperor, this person is sitting on a strong foundation. This is the number 4 in the major arcana. They're sitting on a strong foundation. Their foundation is security. Their foundation is decisions in the highest and best. And so when that person is confronted with their shadow that's being reflected back to them by, their partner, they go, hold on a minute, I need to look at this. This is my opportunity to expand and to grow and to show up for this in my highest and best, which is what's required of me if I'm going to balance it out, because you're showing up in your highest and best. So what are we afraid of? Are we afraid of the truth? Are we afraid of learning the truth about someone? And that truth isn't what we wanted it to be? Or are we afraid of buying into a lie and going down a path and getting much more pain? You see how it's a volcano on this card? All right. You got the King of Swords clarifying the Emperor, and you've got the Ten of Swords in reverse clarifying the Ten of Cups, the Knight of Wands. Then you have the Page of Pentacles on the bottom of the deck. So this is someone who, it may be their thoughts or their way of thinking or a really difficult cycle in this person's life that they thought they had closed out, they thought they had come to a place of acceptance with, or they thought they had completed it, but it's showing up again, and it's giving this person an opportunity to say, wait a minute, this is an opportunity for me to master myself in this area. That's what an Emperor says. This is an opportunity for me to grow. This is an opportunity for me to master my thoughts. And with the Nine of Swords and then this Ten of Swords in reverse, this is saying there's something that I'm still afraid of. There's something that comes up. This could be jealousy, this could be a lack of trust, this could be a fear of intimacy, this could be any kind of fear that gets in our mind and plays with it and doesn't allow us to be fully present in a relationship, or doesn't allow us to make decisions that are in the highest and best, not just for ourselves, but for also the connection. And, so what has to happen is I've got to be able to master those fears. I've got to be able to master those thoughts. I've got to be able to let this cycle close completely out. And I do that by taking on the energy of the King of Swords, the master of thoughts, right? The master of this fear. And this is a huge spiritual lesson for someone with the Page of Pentacles on the bottom of the deck. It's like, you can even see with the way this Page of Pentacles is, this is like my favorite deck right now. I'm obsessed with this deck. You're probably going to see it a lot. I try very hard not to use it every day, basically, is where I'm at with this deck. But, you can see these butterflies here, and this is the transformation that comes when you see how light this is. Fear is heavy. But when we shine a light on fear, when we bring it out into the light and we say, what am I really afraid of? Let me look at it. Let it be revealed to me. We allow ourselves to transform. We allow ourselves to take on a new spiritual lesson that is going to aid us the whole way through, this relationship, this connection, but in life in general. And so there's something that there's a fear that this person is confronting, that they're bringing into light, that they're shining their light on it, and that is shrinking as they shine their light on it. And it's allowing them to transform, to become the vibration and the energy of the Emperor that they need to be in order to be able to show up and really offer this connection what it deserves. By the way, it's called Tarot of a Moon Garden if you're interested in it. Wow, yeah. Okay, I mean, seriously, guys, I think I pretty much just said this. You have the Ace of Swords with the Death card, with the Ace of Pentacles, with the Four of Cups on the bottom of the deck. So there is something, you can even see the volcano of that fear energy. Remember how there was that fear energy and it was like a volcano? See, now we have distance from it. It's erupting, it's there, but we have distance. We're detached from it. It isn't running our life. We have taken our power back with that King of Swords energy. There are disappointments that have happened in life and in love that have left us in this space where, you know, that may have even blown us up at one point, that may have even shaken our earth, have shaken our soul, have shaken our belief system even, that, you know, we have had to kind of get some space from, that we've had to learn how to look at it. We've had to learn how to, you know, exist with it in our life, right? We can't turn back time. We can't make it so it didn't happen. We can't go back to that innocence of, you know, never having been hurt before, right? But that's not the point. That's not the purpose. The purpose is to evolve from that space. The purpose is to say, how can I alchemize this suffering into something meaningful, something that serves me, right? How do I put myself back together? And you can see the process of this through the Death card and the Ace of Swords. It's like, I face it, you know, I challenge it. I say, you know, what do you have on me? You know, because that volcano's in the distance. You survived it. You lived through it. You're telling the tale of it. You are so distant from that suffering that you're ready to get to you know, kind of get into another relationship, or you're ready to do it again, right? And it's just this putting ourselves in that same situation, maybe even for the first time since that's happened, is going to trigger that. It is going to say, hey, remember when that happened? Remember how bad that sucked? Are you sure you want to do this again? What is that? That's our ego. That's what our ego does. Our ego says those things to keep us safe, right? It puts that fear in us to keep us safe, to prevent us from getting hurt again. But the thing is, when you can look at that hurt, you can look at that suffering, you can look at that catastrophic event maybe, and you can say, I survived. Then guess what? If it happens again, you're going to survive it again. And that's how we come to this place of acceptance. We come to the place of acceptance by saying, hey, I survived, I learned from it, I became more discerning because of it, and now I can be detached from it. I can let it go. I don't have to let it run my life through the energy of fear and my way of thinking, and putting all these thoughts in my head. I can detach from that, and I can accept that whatever outcome happens here, if it comes together and it's true love and I'm happy, it will all have been worth it because I'll be happy. And you know what? If it falls apart and it doesn't work out, guess what? I'm going to survive. And you know what? Not only am I going to survive, but I'm going to become even more discerning. I'm going to learn something from it. I'm going to grow from the experience of it. Now, you know, if we have our druthers, right, we're only going to choose the things that lead us to the space of love and happiness. But, you know, the point isn't, you know, needing to control an outcome or needing to only get involved with something if one certain outcome is going to happen. It's in opening up to all of life. And all of life is the good, the bad. I got the Facts of Life song again. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. It's so strong. It's crazy. But you see what I'm saying here? And this brings about a huge transformation. This brings about a huge shift. Okay? And it brings about this energy that the solid and stable beginning of the Ten of Pentacles, something that can be long lasting, something that can be built over time, is born upon, you know? And that is the energy of cooperation. It's that energy of like, I'm showing up, you're showing up. I'm offering you my best. My desire is that, you know, we try this, we see where it goes. This is my good faith effort. You know, this is what I'm offering you in good faith to begin this journey and this process and to see where it goes. And this is, you know, what I have that is the most solid, the most stable thing that I have to offer and to bring to this. You know, do you feel the same way? You know what I mean? So it does feel like there is some kind of conversation. It feels like the transformation sort of takes place within the person first, and then they come forward to speak their mind. They're to bring clarity to the situation once they have found it within themselves first, right? And it does feel like there is a major offer coming in along with that. Guys, I mean, look at the metallic. Can you see that? Oh, okay. Sometimes things are done so well, and it makes your heart sing. This deck is one of them. Also, if you have small hands, I feel like this would be a good deck because it's also like the size and shape of it is different. Okay, enough about my favorite deck. Okay. So this is really wild, okay? I'm just going to try here to say what it is I'm getting. Then you have this Magician. Jesus, wow. Okay, so the Star card in reverse, this is telling me, the message I got with this right away was, it's not you, it's me. It's not that you are not my wish fulfillment. It's not that you are not what I want. You are what I want. It's that I have to be ready to take it. I have to be ready to show up for it. Do you know what I'm saying? I also have to be what I want, you know? And there is, with the Star card, there's an energy of hope and optimism that is required. And when we see that fear energy, and we see that Ten of Swords in reverse energy, and we see these those energies peppered in this reading, it really is about one person's internal process. And it is about them being able to master their thoughts and their fears and their past experiences, so that those past experiences and those thoughts and those fears aren't mastering them. And until we can each do that ourselves, then we're bringing these energies from our past into this thing that we're trying to create. And it is going to be the flaw in the foundation that will eventually be brought down by a tower. And because what we really want is the Ten of Pentacles, right? We want to take this Ace of Pentacles and turn it into the Ten of Pentacles. We don't want to take this Ace of Pentacles and turn it into a tower. It's almost as if this person is having this divine intervention, this tower now, so that the foundation can be proper. Remember, with the Emperor, we're talking about that foundation. And the foundation is also this Ace of Pentacles, you know, which is the foundation for this Ten of Pentacles energy. We don't want to waste this opportunity. You know, we don't want to, because what happens when we're not ready and we try to force the situation is you can have a soulmate that is 100% your soulmate, that is like, you know, the deepest love you've ever felt, and you can just see how it's supposed to go and how it's supposed to work out. But if we don't tend to it correctly, if we don't show up for it right, and then we don't take care of it right, even the strongest connection, we're human. We're bringing a human aspect. Sometimes I think we think, oh, soulmate, you know, like, okay, it's always supposed to work, or it's not even that, but it's just like a strong soul connection, like, wow. But it's like, having a strong soul connection does not minus out the fact that we're human, and the fact that we're imperfect, and the fact that we are bringing our imperfections into everything that we do, right? And that can always create that flaw in the foundation. So what we have to do is we have to work on that humanness, and that humanness is what's involved in the ego, and what's involved in that fear, and what's involved in those shadows. And that's the part that teaches us that's the part where we have the opportunity to learn and grow from. And so when we seize those opportunities, when we say, okay, hold on a minute, I really do actually want this to work out. And I'm seeing, that there's something here that isn't quite right, either within myself, within the connection, like whatever it is, when we're not afraid to say those things. Because why don't we say those things sometimes? Because we're afraid. We're afraid that the other person, we're going to lose the other person because we said them. Or the other person is going to see some flaw in us that they didn't see before, or, like there's quite a few reasons really. But when we can acknowledge, like, yeah, I think this is a soul connection. Yeah, I think this is fated. Yeah, I think this is destined. But I'm not quite ready for it yet, or I need to work on my humanness. I need to be able to kind of show up for this thing in an energy that is solid and stable, that isn't, operating out of fear. When we operate out of fear, we're going to blow something up. We're going to have a volcano moment. We just are. That's what fear does. It is the loudest extension of our humanness. And so, but with the Magician here especially, it's saying, I can turn it around. I am also this incredible, miraculous spiritual being that is unlimited in nature and that can turn anything around. I can alchemize this weakness. I can alchemize not being ready into being ready, into, a strength even. I just have to have the chance to do that. I just have to employ that energy and that philosophy and make that happen. You have the King of Pentacles with the Ace of Pentacles. This person, when they are ready, is going to offer something solid and stable. And, they are, this can even be someone who wasn't ready at one time and kind of saw it, kind of knew it, and needed to go through a transformation, needed to find clarity. They may have even been in a mode where they're like, I can't really say this is what it is or this is what it isn't. I can't really put my finger on it. I can't bring more clarity to this situation than this. I just know this isn't the time, and it's not you, it's me. It's like that. Or they just didn't act on it. Because for some of you, I distinctly get this energy of like, I'm not saying anything. Like, I'm not saying, how do I even want to say this? I'm not saying that there's something wrong and we need to separate or whatever. I'm just internally recognizing a shadow or a fear or something that's coming up within me that I have to deal with. And I may quietly, without saying anything, sort of go over here and figure it out or work on it or alchemize it myself. And then when I show up, I'm going to be ready. I'm going to be ready because I'm going to know that I can balance out the scales. I know that I'm showing up for this connection in my highest and best form. Like, I've worked on my humanness. I'm solid, I'm stable, I believe in abundance, I'm hopeful, I'm optimistic, I'm ready to commit, I'm ready to show up, I'm ready to put my money where my mouth is. That's the King of Pentacles, Ace of Pentacles. And when I am, and when I can, and when I do, there will be no mistake about it. I will be offering you something solid and stable. I'll be coming in a different energy. Wow, there's the star upright. How interesting. And it's funny because the moon from a different deck was in these cards. So interesting. Wow, yeah. So we have the Five of Swords in reverse. We have the King of Wands, Justice, and the Page of Pentacles upright. My God, guys, literally, this reading is crazy. You have the Justice card here with that balance energy. And the Page of Pentacles, remember we saw that earlier, where it's like there's an opportunity to learn this spiritual lesson that we can then apply to this, not just this relationship, but all of life, remember, from the beginning. And so there's this energy here of, okay, we're learning the spiritual lesson. And now when I make this decision, I'm able to back it up. I'm able to balance it out. I'm able to do the right thing. I'm able to have the confidence in my decision that I'm showing up in an energy where I can reciprocate everything that you're offering me. With the King of Wands, I just keep getting this. It's not that I ever didn't want it. It's that I had to be able to take action on what I wanted. You know, we go from the Knight of Pentacles in the beginning, the Knight of Wands, I'm sorry, in the beginning, to the King of Wands here, which is like, you know, has the courage of his convictions, has mastered the ability to have desires, but to also like have staying power, and to also kind of harness that energy to make powerful moves and to make powerful decisions, and to be able to say, I know what I want and I'm going after it. And it's not just serving me. It's serving the whole. It's serving you. It's serving the connection. It's serving me. And I know that I have the strength of this decision. I know I have the capacity to back that up, to make good on it. This person's thoughts, like all the thoughts that were defeating this person or preventing this person from being able to kind of show up in this energy, they have released. The one thing that hasn't changed is that you're still the one that they want. You know what I mean? This is still what they want. So, you know, for some of you, is this a past person coming back from separation? And could the separation be a long time? Sure, it could be that. For others of you though, and I get this a lot, it's like going through this process of kind of being able to commit, or being able to, you know, there's definitely a conversation showing up here, and it's definitely someone who doesn't want to just come in and say words or say the right things. It's someone who wants to be able to come in and say the right things and back it up with something very solid and stable, and they want to be in their highest and best energy. This is someone who doesn't want to mess something up. You know, this is someone who doesn't want to come in halfway or fake it till they make it, or those kind of energies. This is someone who wants to come in with the courage of their convictions and the confidence to know that they have the ability to bring this into being, that they are more than capable of doing this, of being this person. All right. Let me just clarify these. All right. Any fear that this person had around being able to cooperate, that it's gone. This person, you know, with the Five of Swords in reverse and the Three of Pentacles in reverse, this person, honestly, it feels like wondered and doubted if they were, you know, it's like, I can share the plan, I can share the vision, but can I actually cooperate? Can I actually show up in a way where I'm not terrified the whole time that I'm going to let you down, or that I can't do this, or that it's too much for me, you know? And so with the Nine of Swords on the bottom of the deck, yeah, with the Two of Swords, it's like this person had to take some time to kind of regulate, it feels like, or to process, to come to terms even with something. You have the Ace of Wands here. They always wanted it. I don't think they ever stopped wanting it or wanting you. Nine of Pentacles, like, you know, they see you as, this is someone that wanted to be able to match your energy. They wanted to be able to be who you deserve. And it is happening. It is changing with the Wheel of Fortune there. You do have the Five of Cups here with this energy of the King of Wands, the Justice, and the Page of Pentacles. And it does feel to me that it's like this person does not want to have any regrets. I think that, you know, this person has had regrets before in the past. I am just going to clarify this. They have had, I think they had experiences in the past that caused their suffering, and this is an energy of like needing to get detachment, needing to let go of possibly or potentially a little bit of a defensive nature, or this like kind of like layer of protection that wouldn't allow them to fully open up to this relationship, or fully being able to like really accepting or experiencing this relationship to its highest and best. It's like this person really recognized, I feel there is a deep soul connection here, and they wanted to let go of, they wanted to release the things within them that would cause them to have regrets, that would cause them to make mistakes, that would cause them maybe even possibly to make the same mistakes they'd made in the past. That's what it feels like. All right, let me get you guys some message cards. If you're dealing with a water sign, you're getting, I wish I could have been emotionally available and let you in. Allow me to work on myself so I can work on us. I'm so embarrassed. I acted foolish and don't know how to tell you how sorry I am. And I listened to the wrong people. They were wrong about you. If you're dealing with a fire sign, one day I believe we will be together again. There is no good reason for the way I acted. I wish I could apologize. This is not the way I wanted things to end. I wish I could go back in time. I'm feeling emotionally void without you. You will always have a special place in my heart nobody else can fill. And I never truly moved on, even though we are apart. Oh, even though I appear so. Gosh, I just make stuff up. All right, if you're dealing with an earth sign, you're getting, I'm scared you will not accept me now. I struggle with love and expressing it. It just does not come easy for me. I am damaged and not deserving of your love. And if you are dealing with an air sign, whoa, I just dropped the deck. It wasn't you, it was me. See, I got that a lot in this reading. I am to be blamed. I accept fault for this. Every thought is you. You occupy my mind. I can't escape you, even if I tried. You made me see a side of me that I've grown to hate. That pretty much came out in this reading. You accepted me for me, the good, the bad, and the ugly. I couldn't do the same. That may have been the reflection. I missed out on something so good. The next person you allow into your life is lucky. All right, guys, this is what I have for you today. I really hope it helps. I hope it brought you some peace and clarity. If it did, let me know. Like, share, subscribe, comment. I love to hear from you guys. Until next time, I send you off with all my very best. Always, always, always. Bye-bye.